English 102 students, this is your instructor, and I just wanted to have a short video about our poetry short story essay. It's our second essay of the semester, and I want us to discuss what exactly we're going to cover for this essay. So by this point you've read the poems and short story, and you're essentially caught up with the literature, and so now it's time to write the essay. And think back to your literary analysis essay that you wrote in English 101. That's the genre that we're writing this time, is literary analysis. And so you're essentially writing out your interpretation of the literature. It's your opinion about it, what you gleaned from it, what you think the author intended when he or she wrote it, and just really focus on your opinion about the literature. Definitely choose the works that are most interesting to you. So if there was one when you were reading it that you were really drawn to or wanted to really analyze, that's the one to write about. You can really choose 1, 2, or 3 literary works to write about, depending on which ones really spoke to you. But I wouldn't go past 3. I don't want you to get overwhelmed with information, or have to do more work than your classmates. So I would definitely focus on either just 1 work, 2, and you can compare and contrast those 2 works, or 3 and have 1 for each of your body paragraphs for a 5-paragraph essay. But if you have any other questions about how to choose your works, how to structure the essay, feel free to email me, of course, as always. The rough draft due date is Wednesday, March 3rd by midnight in discussions, and we're going to do peer review just like we did with the research paper, the first paper. You're going to have peers read over your rough draft and give you feedback so you can revise it and make it a final draft. The final drafts are going to be due 1 week later on Wednesday, March 10th by midnight, and that's going to be submitted in the week 9 content folder. And notice both the rough draft submission and final draft will count as those week's attendance grades. This paper is worth 20% of the final grade, so it doesn't cover as much weight as the research paper as far as part of your average. The length is only 800 words in length. That's the minimum length. Remember, your research paper was 1,500 words, so this essay is quite a bit shorter. So that should be a relief, I'm sure. Usually 101 papers are 500 words, so that also gives you some idea of what size of essay this is. It's only 800 words, so just 300 words past a 101 paper. The formatting is 12-point Times New Roman font, double space with MLA heading and style. If you need an example of MLA heading, page 161 in the Siegel textbook has a really good example for MLA heading. It will have to have a works cited page, but it only needs to have the literary works that you're writing about cited on it. You will not need any outside sources, so there's no research for this paper. It's literally just your ideas about the literature. I don't want to know Schmoop's ideas or SparkNotes ideas or Wikipedia's ideas. No online sources are needed. No sources, period, are needed for this paper. I just want you to focus on what you think about what we've read. So I say that there has to be a works cited page. Students have asked me in the past how to cite the textbook, so I have actually included on the second page the citations. And since I have the Word documents on the content area of Blackboard, you can just copy and paste the citations for the works that you're writing about. Don't include the whole works cited page, because obviously you're not going to write about all of this literature, but say if you're writing about Emily Dickinson, Because I Could Not Stop for Death, you could focus on that poem and just copy and paste that citation into your works cited page. So I've done that part for you, so that's much easier than the research paper as well. So you don't need any outside sources for this. Remember, it is going to be scanned with anti-plagiarism software, so I'll know if you include outside information. So try your best to just focus on your thoughts on this literature. There are some topic ideas listed here. You can compare and contrast 2 characters. You can focus on imagery or themes. A lot of the works cover love as a major theme, so you can focus on, if you chose 3 works, you could focus on how they each depict love differently. That's a pretty common topic. Another really popular topic for this essay is how the author's message is or is not relevant today. Depending on which piece of work you focus on, it could be that it's dated, or that it is still relevant, or you just want to focus on parts of it that are relevant and parts that are no longer relevant. You can even split it up like that. So depending on what you cover, that could be a really interesting topic to delve into. How the conclusion is foreshadowed. Foreshadowed means that it's hinted at. So if there was a work that you're like, I know how this is going to end, the birthmark is one of the more common ones, or the Casco Amontillado. Honestly, both of those have foreshadowing in them. As far as how it's going to end, you can almost tell in the first couple of paragraphs, honestly, how the ending is going to occur. So there's also settings is a possibility. Some of the works have interesting settings that you could focus on. Symbolism. Symbolism is when an item represents an idea. So flowers are usually symbolic of love, skulls are symbolic of death, and so if you wanted to focus on a couple of symbols from the work, you could as well. Death in the afterlife is another common theme that we focused on within this literature, so you could focus on how the work depicts death or foreshadows death, and whether or not the author argues for an afterlife or not. So I've listed all of the literary works we've covered and the page numbers in your textbook, so that way you can use this as a guide when you're choosing which ones you want to focus on. And like I said, try to choose the ones that you were most interested in when you read them. That'll help a lot, because the more interested the writer is, the more interesting it is for the reader to read in your essays. There's always that 10 points off every day late rule, just to encourage you guys to turn in your papers on time. And all of your final drafts are going to be graded using the grading rubric that I used for the research paper and the one that's used for 101 classes as well. So, and don't forget that it's going to be scanned with anti-plagiarism software, so just make sure that this essay is your own and your own ideas. And I've got a little spot for brainstorming and outlining below if you like to use that. But if you have any questions whatsoever on this essay, I'm always here to help, and I'm happy to help. So I wish you the best of luck on it, but I'm sure these are going to be fantastic essays, and I look forward to reading your interpretations of the literature. Thanks. Bye.